Hello, and welcome to the news that didn't make the news. How's everybody doing? I'm feeling a little bit quiet and I suppose somber at the moment. There's a whole lot that seems to be going on right now. Welcome to you and happy Sunday. I'm officially in my office, which is awesome. Hello, Renee. How are you? Let's see if I can just chill out a little bit. I don't know. So, the energy right now has people a little wonky, per usual, I feel like. We went from one person to six people. Not sure if there's really six people here or not. So, hello and welcome to the news that didn't make the news. The good news here is the temperature has finally dropped, and maybe perhaps I can sleep with the windows open and not have to run the air conditioner because I'm really crazy when it comes to excessive noise. I like absolute quiet when I lay down to sleep. And the world has seemed to be anything but quiet for the last couple of days. I was already having a problem with my phone, so as you can see, you have the skinnier, condensed version of me right now. Because I was even having a problem, it was saying that there was a problem with YouTube. So I don't know what's going on. My computer is actually more prone to that than my cell phone. So here we go. We're just going to roll this way, I suppose. Hello, Christina. Divine Unity. Yes. I'm not sure what your real name is or if I know you from somewhere else, Divine Unity. I'm not sure. Where to start here? We need to pay attention to our thoughts and throw out the clutter of the mind so that we can be clear in our living from the seat of the soul. And as you guys know, I feel like a preacher who's talked about nothing but getting into the energy that serves you and your joy and your happy life. And I've always tried to my best ability to do that. But in the last couple years, I had no choice in order to survive. I had to throw out the negativity that surrounded me, the negativity within the family, the negativity of people who wanted to reach out to me. For some reason, I have been an absolute target for people's question and answer games for things that I am not qualified for. I know, and it sounds funny, like alien pregnancies and all sorts of other things. So I have learned to keep my energy incredibly clear, and that means a very, what is the word? It's not a lonely existence, but an existence of very few, interacting with very few people other than most of you. Hello, Kathy. How are you doing? So, what I would say I was doing, because I don't want to say I was living an unhealthy, miserable, you know, lack of joy experience. That's not how I was living. But I was allowing other people, their thoughts, their opinions, their questions, their need for assistance kind of push me around and maybe sometimes play a role that it wasn't necessarily a role that I was even equipped to play. So sometimes we play roles that we are ill-equipped or unequipped to really play in our own lives. So, whatever those roles are, for me, I was forced to do this in order to turn my life around, in order to survive. I had to stop overplaying my role with other people and with this world. And if you've not, been in some sort of position that made you look at things this way, then you may not understand it. But I will say, after the last couple of years, I would feel that most of you would understand this anyway. We sometimes get in this energy of playing roles of what is expected to us, or what our title is, or what our contracts are. Um, we are in this role that we play. Who am I? I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, all of this. Um, but I was playing in things sometimes that I didn't need to be, that weren't great for my energy. And I stopped talking to an incredible amount of people when I got sick, because I tried telling those people that in order for me to do this process, to make it through this process, I was going to have to focus on rainbows and unicorns, and rainbows and unicorns only. And so you have to cut out things at some point that are not rainbows and unicorns. And this may not, obviously everybody doesn't come upon, physical illness or physical injury or something like this, but we're all experiencing it, right? So maybe it's more of a mental situation for you. Maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's depression, um, maybe it's a bouncing around between anxiety and depression. Okay. And the only reason I'm starting out by saying this is you don't realize until you become out of alignment in your own health, whether that's mentally or physically, the way that not only food plays a role, but how your own energy, how you talk, the way you let people talk to you, the situations that you keep yourself in. So many of us, in order to feel like we are engaging with assisting humanity, our family, or even the collective, have been overplaying a role for other people, right? So there's a lot of people in the energy of blaming the energy. So people are in the energy of blaming the energy for their own life and their own attitude. Now, I've talked to many of you directly who had a person that they had to cut contact with, um, or just let go of that relationship, period, because every time the energy changed or the energy cycle amped up, those people were blaming their lives and their attitudes on this energy. I'm not saying that's not real and that's not valiant, because it certainly is, in a very multifaceted way. But if you are someone that knows about this energy, that knows about the Earth's energy changing, and you read all these things, everything that you subject yourself to reading about. So anyone that knows about the solar stuff kind of pretty much knows about the reevaluation of currencies and the global chaos that we have gone through in the last 3 years. And the same thing, the thing is here, if you know about the global chaos and you know about the ascension process and you know about the increase of energy, but yet you're blaming your life and your attitude on the energy. There's something missing there, because if you have all the information through the chaos, and you have studied, like probably 4 or 5 million people spent 2020 and 2021 studying about things they never heard of before that they thought were conspiracy theories. If you have access to that information, then you also have access to the information that can help you with the ascension process, and also help you with the energy that's coming from the sun that so many people are having a hard time with. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't be kind, and we shouldn't help our community in a time that has been very, very chaotic and very uncertain, and has left a lot of people just not feeling well, whether that's mentally or physically. So, blaming your life and your attitude on the energy, if you have the wherewithal and the means to understand everything that's gone on in the last 3 years, please do yourself a favor when you feel overwhelmed by the energy. And I know I've probably said this 100 times. And it's one of the reasons I don't scroll Facebook anymore. We have an X class solar flare, and everybody is literally on there crying about everything that's wrong, right? But we know that when those energies come in, it causes us to purge. So it's a choice. Do we want to purge on Facebook in front of thousands, possibly millions of people, or do we want to shine the light within to see how we can make it through a challenging time? It's a challenging time for anybody. I'm sure the monks up in the Himalayas are feeling the energy of ascension as well, right? But we don't live that way, or most of us don't live that way. And I don't wear the same clothes every day like a monk, but I pretty much live that lifestyle, minus wearing the same clothes every day, and minus the fact that I am not in some secluded area in the Himalayas, right? That's the way I live. I seclude myself, and I don't seclude myself from everyone and everything. But blaming your life and your attitude on the energy means that you need to really look at, when you're purging and when you're experiencing a chaotic or depressive energy, what are you doing? Are you going on social media and trying to find answers outside of yourself, or simply complaining about the energy? And I'm not saying this because the majority of you watching me are doing this. I'm saying this because we are a community, and you need to understand what is going on with so many hundreds of thousands of people. Okay. So I know from other people, I don't experience this firsthand. The few people that I talk to are not blaming their life um, or their attitude on the energy. Instead, they're just opening up and expressing what it is they feel is coming up in the energy for themselves, or even sometimes the collective, or even for many of you, it's your connection to nature, and trees and the water and sentient life. So be aware of that in the community. Maybe if you see someone really, really struggling with that. The thing is, um, the solar capacity to change us at a cellular level is intense and magnificent. Okay. But it also means purging, it also means letting go. And while you have your phone in your hand, because the sun is electronic, because we're getting an electromagnetic charge from the sun, and you're holding your phone to try to see if anyone else is experiencing what you're experiencing, what I want you to know for yourself and those people around you is, while you're doing that to help yourself, you're actually complicating the process. Okay. And the other thing that happens when there's a lot of solar energy and you're on your phone because you can't sleep or you're on the computer, that light and that frequency and that vibration from the computer keeps you from being able to rest your mind. And that's important. It's important to see people struggling and, not saying, we make a judgment on people and tell them what to do for blaming their life and their attitude on the energy, but maybe make a suggestion to those people. I've noticed a lot of times when people are struggling with something and you offer a suggestion, I'm not suggesting that, and I don't offer suggestions to people who don't ask, but tons of people ask me for suggestions. Okay. Um, and in our lives, there are people who ask for suggestions and then they just keep on doing what they're going to keep on doing. So this is a community. We're here to help each other. We're here to assist each other. But while we're in that blaming life and our attitude on the energy, if you make suggestions to that person and you just, can't communicate or can't assist them, or they, maybe they're asking you the same question over and over again, every time, how do I do this? And then you take your time and your energy to help them. And they're back the next day or 2 days later, a week later saying, I'm still suffering. I'm still having a problem with this energy. I'm still having an attitude about this energy. So the one thing I want you to know, and I want you to not get caught up in names or labels or shows or any of that, it's really important, because I know that in the last several years, black is white, white is black, yellow is orange, right? Um, Everything has been chaotic. And our community, not specifically you and I, but our soul family, our community, which involves David Wilcock and so many other people that are on the front lines of making, disseminating information and trying to assist people. We also have to cut those people a little slack as well. I'm not specifically only talking about David Wilcock. There's so many people out there doing this. And sometimes I hate to say names anymore because everybody has a problem with everything. But here's what I want to tell you. Now, whether you believe Corey Good is an agent of deception or, working for the dark hats or whatever, I personally feel when I watch him, his memory is very, very choppy. So I don't think that he is intentionally leaving stuff out. Now, the only reason I'm mentioning Corey Good and David Wilcock is this, because I was talking about those people whose attitude and energy, who are blaming their life and their attitude and whatever's going wrong for them on the energy. There is a very grandiose truth to that. Okay. So those people are not making it up. And we all have our days and there's tiredness and dizziness and headaches and, telepathic communication. And there's all kinds of amazing things going on. And some days for me, it can be overwhelming, even though I've been like this since a child. So imagine how overwhelming that is for other people, those same people blaming their life and their attitude on the energy. Okay. We are a community and we have to try to assist each other. Now, the one thing that I will say is it's not assisting to anyone or anything. If you are assisting someone who's asking you for help and the next day they're back with the same question, or the next week they're back with the same question, then you're not really helping them. And you're also not really helping yourself. And sometimes we have to think about ourselves as this big, gigantic, amazing soul group that's always connected. So I know it's hard, but if that person blaming their life and their attitude on the energy is asking you for your assistance and you're telling them, meditate, take a walk, hug a tree, and you're trying to help, but you keep doing it. You're overplaying your role to others and sacrificing your own energy. Now, we have to find a happy medium and some balance here. Okay. So, if I want to help you and you ask me for help, and I say, okay, what do you need? Okay, here's my suggestion, or here's what helped me. And that person's back the next day. We're having a storm and there's a lot of fire engines and whatnot. So, excuse the noise. I'm in my new office, which is even closer to the road. Maybe that wasn't the best of ideas, right? So, if I'm helping someone, if I want to help someone, if I'm offering to help someone, and then they're back tomorrow or they're back next week, I'm not helping that person. Okay. And when it gets to that point, you remember that your energy should foremost and most importantly be for you, and then assisting in the group of humanity that wants assistance. So it's very draining when you keep helping the same person that keeps telling you they want help, but they don't help themselves when you try to help them, or they're back with the same. You know when you help somebody because they're not back tomorrow with the same problem, right? Or they're not back in 7 days with the same problem. So we are healers, okay? Every one of you has an incredible gift to give to this world right now. It's time for this planet to return back to natural healing, natural healing, a way of living off the land, a way of living in community. Every single one of you has an incredible gift that this world greatly, greatly needs right now. And that is using your gifts so that we can return to the natural state of health, the natural state of food, the natural state of joy and wellness for all of sentient life on this planet. That's why it's so important for you to make a judgment when someone comes to you with the same issue over and over and over again. Because if somebody really wants your help or really needs your help, they will listen and at least try something. And I know when someone's desperate and when someone is unwell, they will try anything that you tell them to do. I never understood the person, because I've been, even way before I got sick, I've been experimenting on my body with exercise, the amounts of sleep, different kinds of relationships, everything. I've been experimenting on myself literally for almost 30 years now. Okay. So I would always tell people, oh, you have sinus infection, or, a cold or whatever, lemon water is the way to go. If you have a cough, do lemon and honey, whatever. And people always would say to me, there's always a massive resistance, is what I'm saying, right? So here's the very, very interesting thing to me. If you're saying, Tina, I'm sick, and I'm saying, hey, get some honey and some lemon, and you're telling me that's not going to work, or why would we have modern medicine? Well, that's a rabbit hole I don't have time to even go down with you. What I never understood about humanity is when, no matter what anybody says, whether you're, whatever it is, okay, a lemon is like 79 cents. Why not just try it? So there has been, and there will continue to be people who come after your energy. Okay. So what you understand, perhaps, and what they understand are two different things. You're obviously speaking the same language. They obviously, are understanding your language. They're understanding your verbiage. They're understanding that you're trying to help. They're asking for help. But here's what it comes down to mostly. When someone is in my feed or in my DMs or anywhere asking for help, and I say, for example, get a lemon, the person that wants help will say, thank you, I'm going to go get it. Thank you, I have it, I'm going to do it right now. The other person never does it. There's resistance to it. And it's the thing I don't understand about humanity, especially when it comes to health, because our food is our medicine. That's why we're sharing these gifts to get back to the land, to live off the land in our integrity with nature, because that's the way we heal our body and our planet and all of sentient life. And the thing that's so fascinating about this, and this is what I want you to know in case you're not aware, but you probably are, the person that is asking you for assistance and then is back tomorrow asking you for assistance and then next week and 3 months later, and it's always the same question, it's always the same problem, right? It's always a cold, or it's always, a bad relationship that they can't seem to get out of, or whatever it is for that person, mentally or physically. The thing is they're not coming to you to find out how to get rid of a sinus infection. They're not coming to you to figure out how to get out of a bad relationship. They're not coming to you because you're in shape and they want to know how you work out. They're coming to you specifically for your healing energy. And so if you know that, it makes life a lot easier for you. Okay. So, for instance, someone says, "Hey, I need help. I have issues with my sinuses." And I say, "Okay, here's what you do." And if they're back tomorrow and they say, "I need help with my sinuses," I will say, "Did you drink the lemon water?" And they will say, one of two things. "Yes, I did. It worked. Thank you. That's awesome. Love you. Bye," which never happens because they're not there to find out how to fix their sinuses or how to get rid of their headache or how to get rid of their bad relationship. They're there because you yourself provide an energy that is medicine to this person. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with giving that way. And there's nothing wrong with helping in that way. But the person has to figure out for themselves how they get in the energy that you achieved so that they can then heal themselves, or they will be constantly for the rest of your life or the rest of theirs asking you for relationship advice or asking you for health advice or fitness advice or relocation advice, grid work advice, whatever it is. So, what I'm saying is, and what I'm suggesting is that when someone asks you for help with a particular thing, I'm not saying that you deny anyone of help, but when they keep coming back with the same question, I just want you to realize that they are there for your energy and your energy alone. Now, some people do realize that they are there for that reason, and they will maybe even tell you they're there for that reason, right? Because if I fix my sinus problem, then there's no reason for me to talk to Tina anymore, right? That kind of thing. You've all experienced this. I know you have. So, we take our incredible gifts that we have, we put them out to the world so that we can return to a state of natural healing. The thing is, if someone is in my DMs or on a post or on a video asking me over and over again the same thing, wanting me to be bailed out, and it's not what I'm doing, it's not what I'm saying, it's not Dr. Hammond, it's literally the energy that they're after. And the reason I want you to know that is the person has to learn how to come into their own energy, into that energy that you hold that is healing them. Okay? Because otherwise, if they don't, they are taking your energy every single time. There's a lot of people that reach out to me for help that don't take that energy. They ask a question, then they come back later and said, "I tried this. This is how it went. Do you have another further suggestion?" But you can feel the energy. Okay. So I hate to use negative, phrases or negative terms, but some people want to sponge off of your energy, even if they are consciously aware that they are doing it not in order to make themselves feel better. So, as healers, we have to stop overplaying our role for others. If you know that, your friend, maybe even your business partner, maybe even your boyfriend, your girlfriend, it's your children. Your children are doing this too. I've talked to several people in the last week. Your children are doing this. Okay, as the role of a healer, always, always, always offer, with gratitude and with joy, your healing. But when that person repeatedly comes back, it's because they don't want to use their own energy to change their own energy in this energy. And those would be the people that are blaming their life and their attitude on the energy. It's important for you to know. So, again, I'm not ever saying in gratitude not to give the gift you have to heal other people with the sound of your voice, okay? But just know, like I said, for so many of you, it is the sound of your voice. It's the caring empathy in your heart that they are attracted to, not your exercise routine, not your medical, not your medical expertise, your relationship advice, or anything else, okay? So with gratitude and love and joy, give that healing, offer that assistance to people. But what I'm saying is when they repeatedly come back for that, know that it's taking your energy and your ability to heal other people that really do want to heal, because not everybody wants to heal. Okay. I've met incredible amount of people on this journey that you can have a conversation with, and they will tell you about the importance of diet, the importance of meditation, the importance of happy, joyous relationships. They know it. They could write a book on all of this stuff, you guys, okay? But are they practicing it? That's a big deal. I can read a book and spew out the facts that I read in that book um, to someone, but that doesn't really mean anything, right? That doesn't really mean anything. So, whether it's your parents, your partner, your children, whoever it is, with gratitude and love, offer that assistance, that healing assistance. But know that there should be some sort of boundary if they're not interested in the process in which it took you to get to the place that you are able to help them heal, because you are not helping them at a certain point when they keep coming back with the same thing and not wanting to learn how to do that for themselves. And I'm not talking about people that are totally immersed in 3D and don't know any of this stuff is going on. I'm talking about the people that are fully aware of this energy. They're fully aware of the ascension. They're fully aware of divine partnership, fully aware of the on hold new banking system. They're aware of all of that. But those people with our guidance have to say, you have to do this. You can't, I can and you can express to people how you've healed and how you've come into the energy of balance. And you guys know, even on the first wave of ascension, we can be incredibly chaotic on days, or maybe it's just for an hour, a couple hours, or, just for the weekend or whatever. So help when you can help, but know when you are hindering that person from solving their own problem, and you're also giving away your energy. So your role as a healer then, to your family, to your children, to whomever it is, you are overplaying that role. You are over giving in that role. And as long as you're overplaying that role, and as long as you're over giving in that role, that person on the other end will keep taking from you. Okay? So pull that into balance. Let's stop overplaying our roles as the healer. We must first heal ourselves. And then, of course, and like I said, always offer that to everyone else. But if the person is not interested and they are repeatedly coming back for the same thing, again, they may not even be consciously aware that they are using the sound of your voice, the look in your eyes, how empathetic your heart is, whatever it is, to heal themselves. So realize and recognize that. You cannot choose if someone loves you. You cannot choose how people love you. And you cannot choose how people show up for you. There's all different levels of love. There's all different levels of showing up for another human, right? Might be a neighbor who says, "Hey, do you have food?" Or "Is everything okay?" Right? And then on the other extreme end of that, somebody might say, "I haven't talked to you in months, but I feel like you're having a rough day." Okay? So we're all over the place. We're all over the board with that. You cannot choose how people love you. You cannot choose if people love you. You cannot choose how people show up for you. You can only observe how they show up for you, and you can only observe how they love you, and then you have to decide if you will participate in that level of love, if you will participate in that level of empathy, or if you will participate in that level of showing up for you. Okay? Especially if you're really, really feeling like you're really loving someone, right? And you're really showing up for someone, but you don't, we all have different levels and we all have different needs. Okay? We're all going to be completely and totally different. That's why there may be many people in your lifetime that love you, right? But to you, even though that person may say they love you and even do things for you, you may not feel the love is what that person says the love is, okay? Or they may talk about having your back or standing up for you or showing up for you, but it might not be to the level of what you need in that particular relationship dynamic, whatever that relationship dynamic is. You cannot choose how people love you. You cannot choose how people show up for you. You can only observe how someone loves you. You can only observe how someone shows up for you and decide if that's worthy of your participation. And when I say I'm living like a monk, I'm kind of half joking. The reason that I will say that about myself and my energy is because I have decided how I want to be loved. I have decided how I want someone to show up for me. Okay? And nothing else is going to do it. Now, that doesn't mean you ostracize your friends and your family and your coworkers. You know what I mean? I'm talking about in close, intimate relationships. You have to decide if the way someone is loving you and the way someone is showing up for you is good enough for you. Because there will be somebody out there for you, if you haven't already met them, that is going to show up for you the way you're going to show up for them. They're going to love you the way that you love them. Okay. And they're going to be fascinated by the way your heart ticks, and they're going to be fascinated by the way your brain works. And most importantly, they're going to be fascinated by your capacity to heal yourself, other people, and this planet. That is why it's so important to think about not over giving to the person that will continually, for always and forever, take your energy because it's beautiful and it's healing and it's empathic. That's a lot of comments in what looks like Arabic to me, so I have no idea what that says. And you guys know I ignore your comments until I rewatch the video later. We are a community. We need to decide what is worth healing individually for ourselves, independently for ourselves, and also for a whole. What is worth it? The healing journey is a long journey. It's a winding, amazing journey. Sometimes it seems really distant. Sometimes healing things can be impossible, whether it's, your relationship, your body, your family dynamics, whatever it is. Sometimes it feels really far away and really impossible, but nothing is impossible. We're healers. There's ancient knowledge on this planet for millions of years. It's been buried. You, as a healer, are here to bring it back. We once lived on the land, okay? Our without shoes, right? Our body was in harmony with the natural grid system, not out of balance with all these computers and technology and man-made electrical systems. You are the healers. Every one of you has an incredible gift to heal this world. And it's time for us as a whole to return to natural healing. And that's why I asked you to really think about giving energy to the person who's showing up. Just because the sound of your voice or the look in your eyes or the compassion in your heart can heal that person. Healing is a very, very, very independent journey. And while I can read a book or talk to you or do something and ask you how to heal myself, ask you how to get over my trauma, ask you how I can, not be in fear to start over, I can ask you that. That's what we're here for. Incredible, incredible community of people, all of you. But a healing journey is an independent journey. You can't be a mess and get in a relationship with someone when you have all this trauma from a past bad relationship. You can't have a happy existence with someone when you get together with that person and you're sick. You've got to get yourself clear for yourself to heal yourself and the planet. There's nothing wrong with talking to other people, helping other people heal. People have helped me heal. So many of you showed up in the hospital room before my surgery. It was absolutely incredible. I needed that. I love that. I could feel you. Some of you, I could even see you. Okay. But healing has to be partially independent, whatever you're healing from. Okay. It could be loss of job. It could be a recent divorce. It could be a physical illness. You could just be mentally exhausted and really, really stressed out. There's a lot going on. Blaming your life and your attitude on the energy is not an excuse if you're aware of every living scenario of chaos in the last 3 years from COVID to now. You can use those same little fingers on the keyboard to type what can help you with this energy. And I am not meaning to be mean, even like I said, someone living like a monk is still going to be going through ascension and these, purging through solar flares and all of these other kinds of things. Okay. It's still happening, but it's not easy for anyone. Okay. So we're all going through this at the same time. We, as I said, are an incredible community. Your healing process can be, aided by other people. Sometimes we have no choice but to be aided by external influence. I had surgery the day after Halloween last year, okay? Because they said that I had to have it. Though when I went in, I was 3/4 the way healed from what I went in for surgery. Because even though I believed in external medicine when it's needed, when it's necessary, I also did everything in my personal power to research what it was that I could do to change my diet for that specific reason, to change my attitude for that specific reason, to change everything about my disposition in order to heal myself the best, because I knew no hospital, no doctor, no surgeon could heal me if I wasn't willing to heal myself. And not everybody is always willing to help and heal themselves. Sometimes people are unconscious of it, but maybe they even like the attention. See a lot of people here that I've never seen before. 4455. Oh, wow. I'm not going to stay here on here all night. I've been doing a really great job at staying on here all night very recently. Okay. Um, and I don't mean it to be so somber. Okay. But decide to heal and know that that is independent. Also know, you don't always have to give all of your energy out to everyone all the time just because they're asking for it or they recognize you as a healer. We have to be mature. We have to be naked. We have to be open. We have to be vulnerable. We have to be bare. You know, sometimes we have to ask for help. Sometimes we have to do things we don't want to. There's all this stuff about, you know, a man is supposed to do this, a woman is supposed to do this. And I know a lot of times you guys think we might be past that, but you know, we're not completely past that. We're not completely past a lot of things that we've been taught and a lot of things that are ingrained in us from our life that we've learned on this planet. We need to learn to be naked, to be transparent, to be vulnerable, to say how we feel. And trust me, I can tell you firsthand. I know that it's not always easy. Um, I know there have been times in the last year when I have been incredibly hurt and I have lashed out at that other person. Like I didn't even feel like I could control that, right? I didn't feel like I could control it because sometimes things happen, okay, that you never want things to change sometimes. Okay, sometimes you meet people and you think, now that I met this person, I can't even imagine life without him. And so that what I was going through, and it just made me not want to, but like I couldn't even control it. Like I just sometimes got incredibly angry, and it happens. Okay, everybody does it. So if someone is telling you that they're meditating and not ever having angry thought, that's not true, because meditation is a tool, and exercise and healthy diet and all of it are tools to help us get through this process, to help us deal with disappointment, to help us deal with loss. And we're a community, and it's important. And part of my somberness today is this. My uncle's son um, was found dead in the last 24 hours. And today I received news. There's going to be an autopsy, but today I received the news that he had made a comment about getting a very specific poison out of the woods and ending his life. And he told my cousins, his brothers and sisters, his intention, but it never made it past there. Never told an adult, never did anything. And yes, it's a big deal when someone is sick and when someone dies. But in our family, this is the 5th suicide, okay, in the last decade. So be there for people when they need it. The thing about this ascension energy, okay, even before it really started. So now I sound like those other people blaming it on ascension, right? And I don't mean to. So people are getting really turned on with their gifts right now to heal themselves and heal the planet. Some people came in with those already somewhat turned on. Some people came in with them partially turned on. Some people came in with them incredibly turned on. When I was younger, I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't know what to do with visions of the future. I didn't know what to do with any of this. But the way I was raised is it was okay to say what was going on in my life. Not to my entire family, but my parents, my mom's brother at least, would listen. I see the future. I see this whole chaotic thing, which was 2019 where it started, right? I started seeing that when I was 12 years old. It was crazy. And I'm not saying this to talk about me. I'm saying I had someone that I could talk to things about, which, you know, that did not take it all away. That did not make it easy, but I had a support system. I had people that I could at least speak to. I could also talk to my brother about these things. A lot of people don't have that, and the biggest thing is even before the ascension amped up, even before this solar inundation amped up, okay, there were a lot of people just like me, but they weren't raised like me. Okay. So if you were just like me, if you had visions and you talked to beings and you saw the future, okay, that would probably in some aspects be terrifying. But the major aspect in which it would be terrifying is if you had no one to talk about it to, you would have thought you were losing my mind. So when I was 12, and I started talking to my parents and to my uncle about this, you know, my uncle was like, "Well, there's people all over the planet just like you." And I was like, "What?" You know, and he pointed me to books at like 14. So I would know that I wasn't alone. It's so incredibly sad to me, right? That people would grow up. And again, it doesn't take it all away. I will tell you once a year, every year, I cried all the way up until my 44th birthday. And that crying episode once a year, every year, went a little something like this. I'm tired of these gifts. I don't want to see the future anymore. I don't want to know all this crap. Take it away, take it away, take it away, take it away. Until I was 44. I finally stopped doing that at 44. So it hasn't been that long ago, as you can see. The thing is, the reason why we can never fix the serious drug problem in the United States, and I'm not talking about someone smoking pot, okay? I'm talking major drug problems. The reason we can't fix the major drugs problems is because those people that start doing hard drugs are people that see what I see and know what I know. And they think that if they tell anybody about that, they're going to end up in a mental institution, or they're not going to have friends, or their parents are going to disown them, or whatever outside external influence has a hold over them. Okay. So I'm not saying every single person is like this. I'm saying the majority of hard drug use comes exactly from where I come from. I'm seeing this. I feel like I'm not like other people. I don't know how to deal with this. I don't know who to talk to, and internalize. And then, you know, it's kind of like this devil on your shoulder light bulb moment, right? Like, if I'm already like this, if I'm already seeing crazy stuff, why don't I just do drugs? Okay. What that person is trying to do is self medicate. And, you know, I have never done hard drugs. I've never been around people who did hard drugs, but I really wish that they would do a study and find out what made that person do hard drugs to begin with. Because I would almost guarantee you it was the fact that they were psychic, empathic, they had visions, they heard voices, all this other stuff, and they wanted to drown it out so they could pretend that they were normal, so they weren't ostracized by their family, their loved ones, or thrown in a, you know, locked up somewhere. This is the fifth person in my family in this decade that has committed suicide. Um, it's absolutely incredible to me that someone could feel so alone and so desperate that they would want to end their life. And someone asked me today, does depression run in your family? Yes, it does. And that's why the majority of my family sticks to a strict bedtime, a strict exercise routine, and a very healthy diet. That's exactly why. Because depression, for the most part, and don't get angry with me, is caused by an imbalance in the brain that comes from an imbalance in your gut, which comes from the water you're drinking, the food you're eating, and the medicine you're taking. So those people that are blaming their life and their attitude on this energy would not be wrong. Those people that are afraid and don't have anybody to talk to, please reach out and be the community of healers, right? That we know we are. And the only reason I mentioned David Wilcock and Corey Good earlier is because of this. I don't really care what anybody thinks of anybody, and just let that go for 1 second, what you think about those two people, okay? The Secret Space program ran a simulation of event energy, which is what we're in. I've been saying that since 2018. It really hit hard in 2019. Crown activation, Corona, okay? 2019. The Secret Space program did a simulation of what would happen to people depending on their predisposed energy before the event energy came. Okay, so they took a variety of wellness, we shall say, into that. Okay, like simulation tank or simulation room or whatever they did. They subjected them to the event energy to see how they were going to deal with it. Okay, and the person that was mindful and had an awareness about taking care of themselves, making the most joy out of life, and just really taking care of themselves and being happy and having an expanded awareness, they were really blissed out and acting super silly, like they smoked a joint. Okay, that's the short story of it. The other people literally went mad in the simulation, and there were some things in between blissed out, smoking the joint, and going mad. So the people blaming their life and their attitude on the energy are not wrong. But if you know that there is an energy, right, and you know that that's where these changes and these purges and all of this stuff is coming from, little keyboard warriors, stop throwing yourself down the rabbit hole of information for a few minutes and find out how you can get yourself balanced. Okay? The simulation is no joke. And, I don't know how long ago the simulation was done, because I want to say it maybe have been like 2008 or 2009. That's an intuitive guess. Okay? I don't know for sure. We've seen an incredible amp up. It really started to massively change in 2017. 2019 hit a whole other level of crown and activation, hence the Corona V and all the scary tactics. Because when you have a Corona activation or crown activation, it's the pineal gland, which is connected to the sinuses, which means no matter how healthy of a person you were, when this Corona activation came, your sinuses and your third eye were going to be stimulated. Therefore, your nose was going to run. Okay, the healthiest person on the planet was going to have a runny nose. Now, where the real sickness and all the other things came in was was people's fear mongering, the fear mongering of the news and social media, and also people's awareness about personal health and how they took care of themselves. They always know what's about to happen, right? And they've always tried to be one step ahead. And if you listen to the word corona and how beautiful that sounds compared to the word COVID, you will even understand the choice of that. So corona was a crown activation that was going to make your nose run. It was going to make your sinuses do things. It was going to do all kinds of things, right? That was an activation. If that information had been given to the public, hey, you're getting smarter, you're getting a download, you're getting you're getting an upgrade in your brain, you're getting a pineal gland activation that comes with a runny nose. You may sneeze a couple times, that everything's going to be okay. We would have had a planet full of awakening, and everything they did for 3 years was to send that into the opposite direction. I'm just telling you how they are and how extreme they are. Yes, the fever as well, too. Now, the fever in the crown activation was because in order for the new download to fully access and come into motion, or locomotion maybe is a better word, you would have needed to let go of the things within the body at a cellular level that no longer serve you, which we've been doing for a long time. But humans have a really hard time doing that. And when you get a fever, guess what? It burns it off without your consent, so to speak, right? Or maybe your mental awareness is a better word for that. Okay. And speaking of that, and thank you for that, Renee. Yes. So with the fever with corona was burning at a cellular level any impurification that was standing in the way of what that download was, what that new information was, what that expanded consciousness was. And I also want to say on a quick note on that, if you are sick for any reason, that sickness accompanies a fever, do not take something to reduce your fever. You guys know I'm not a doctor. The doctor is in. I'm not saying don't ever take one. If you have a temperature of 104, you take something to take your fever away. But the reason you don't want to do that though is because when you have, it doesn't matter what it is, a download, a pineal gland upgrade, a cellular detoxification, anything, any of those things are going to come with a slightly elevated body temperature. Now, super sensitive people may notice it. Not everybody may notice, like a small elevation in their temperature. I will notice if my temperature is off by half a degree, literally. I don't even have a thermometer. I haven't had a thermometer since my son moved out. So whatever the reason is for your body to kick it into high gear and turn the heat up, your body always knows what it's doing. Okay. So if you have a fever and if you have a high fever, I'm not saying that. You have a slight headache or a mild fever. I'm not talking about, fever 104 here. That's an upgrade, that's a download, that's a detoxification. So in the middle of that process, while the temperature is going, so you're boiling it, so you're not boiling, but you get what I'm saying. You're boiling out the impurity, you're purging something systemically from yourself. So if you take something to get rid of that slight fever, you've stopped your detoxification process. Drink water, because in that situation, you're already detoxifying. The best thing you can do is, while you're detoxifying, speed up the process of it actually leaving your body by drinking plain water, or even lemon water helps greatly with ascension. So the reason why so many people have come to the fruits and vegetables diet is because that anything that sits out in the sun, anything that grows in the sun, that sits in the sun, is helping your body to assimilate to the energy of ascension and the energy of the solar energy. The biggest thing you can do for yourself food-wise, when there's, X-class solar flares, or you're feeling like you're really purging, citrus. Most citrus is 6 months to a year on a tree. That's 6 months of sunshine that you just ate. Okay. Pineapple, 24 months. Avocados, 6 to 9 months. The reason I know all this is because for a very short time, when ascension really amped up, there was like 6 things I was eating all the time, and I was trying to figure out what's the common denominator. The common denominator was everything that I was eating all day long every day for about probably a year was spending 6 months to 2 years in the sun. Okay. So if you're experiencing that, citrus and or pineapple, anything ripening outside in the sun. I don't think that the secret space program would be running a simulation to see how people, adjusted and non-adjusted, I guess is the better way to say it, are going to react to the event energy if they weren't expecting what is going on right now. Again, people taking care of themselves were blissed out like they smoked a joint. Okay, they were happy. They were kind of oblivious to anything negative going around them, including the people in the room with them. Other people absolutely lost it. Okay, and I'm telling you this for a couple of reasons. People blaming their life and their attitude on the energies are correct, but they need to find some way to assist themselves with that. Okay. And the second reason I'm telling you that is you have to really keep yourself protected and safe in this energy. That doesn't mean I hide out in the house. Okay. That means this. Even if things were very different 5 years ago or 10 years ago, if you're walking down the street and someone is whistling at you saying, "Hey, baby," whatever, I just keep walking. I've even had people like pull up to me with their car and start talking whatever. When I see a car coming up to me to stop to talk to me, I don't say anything out loud, but I put up my hand. I look straight ahead. I keep walking. I put up my hand and I say, "No, thank you," which works 9 times out of 10. There's a couple of times when that has actually not worked. Whatever it is, what you don't want to do is get mouthy with someone for the exact reason that I just said. Okay? People are having a very, very hard time adjusting to this energy. And even if you're just walking down the street, someone could be attracted to that healing energy that feels good to them because maybe they feel chaotic or whatever it is. Any situation that has the potential to be harmful or chaotic or unpleasant, don't engage in it. I'm telling you, just don't engage in it. We don't have to stand up to ourselves, okay? If it's my mom yelling out the car window to me, it's different, okay? But when it's a stranger, I don't owe that person any explanation for anything. And I know better. If I know this energy is making, and trust me, I see it. I see people walking down the street going, "Hi." They're the part of the simulation from a secret space program that was blissed out like they smoked some weed. Or maybe they smoked some weed. Or maybe both. Probably both. I do live in the city. But there are those people that are already losing it in the energy. Okay? So don't take the chance. You don't need to stand up to yourself to protect your energy from a complete stranger. Just simply walking on and disengaging or ignoring it is enough to take care of it. Not everybody is conscious of what's going on. It's just people love people, be empathetic with people. I don't want to see people suffering or people being sick or people stuck in dysfunctional abusive relationships, and I don't want to see people committing suicide anymore. Reach out and help people, but just know the difference when you're helping someone, when someone's actually listening to what it could be to help them, or whether someone is just using you for an energetic crutch and they're vampirically sucking off your angelic energy so that they can survive through external use of your energy instead of learning how to use their own. Thank you for being here. I wanted to tell you about that secret space simulation, just so you know that it's real and that people that blaming their life and their attitude on the energy are absolutely correct. But if the energy is there, that's half the battle, is just knowing. Sorry, I'm incredibly hot now. Half the battle is knowing what's going on, okay? We don't need to know every single thing about the reevaluation of currencies and the banking system and, all of the stuff that we spend so much time looking at. Instead, take a little bit of time to go within yourself and don't give all your energy away to other people. The ancient knowledge on this planet that has been buried, that has been lost for such an incredibly long time now, you are the healers that came to bring it back to this planet so that we can return to living in harmony with ourselves, each other, sentient life, and this planet. Thank you for being here. Much love and good night.